So now you're signing good music.
Yes.
Does that change, like financially? Do they take care of you and
So
everything?
definitely, financially, I got a check. Still doing music, but the crazy thing is, Boo and Def Jam was still kind of in their pickle. So at this point, they understood that me and Ye was rocking close, and Ye was just like, yo, you should just come be a part of my brainstorming team and writing camp, because until we figure this situation out over here, because these folks want to tie this up. They still mad at the prior regime that was in there. So it was all this business stuff that I had that wouldn't allow me to open my budgets, and people was stealing out of my budgets. It's just all type of foolishness. So I just became a prolific writer. I just started working on writing, and then, my first taste of it, I was in probably about 80% of Watch the Throne album. I was actually supposed to be on that album as well. So
But you wrote on it.
Yeah, definitely. I wrote on Watch the Throne, then I took that and moved to Yeezus. And then I did a lot of work on Yeezus, and then after Yeezus, we've been out of here ever since. But other than that, that's where I've been. A lot of people are like, yo, where's Cyhi been? And, I've been contributing to some of the biggest projects to come out over the past 3 to 4 years.
I mean, how many Kanye songs have you gotten credits on?
I think about 30, 40.
30 or 40 songs.
Yeah.
On Kanye's albums.
Yeah.
That you helped co-write and so forth.
Mm-hmm. More than that. But early on, I didn't take credit for it.
No?
Because on Soul Paul, once he gave me a record, I didn't know, like, it wasn't really like what he pays me for. Sometimes I don't think I should get paid for. Like, a lot of people in the room, I don't think should get paid for some of the stuff they do. But Ye respects everything in the room. That's what makes him great. If you walk in with some white Valentinos and white Valentinos, you'll have a check in the mail.
Really?
Yeah, his lawyers will be reaching out. Because he's just that nice of a guy.
Right. When I heard that when you walk in the room, you got to sign all types of forms. And
That's like NDAs just so you won't, leak the songs or like,
all that, yeah.
But
Okay.
he gives everybody credit. The engineer, the water guy, the interns, everybody.
So as someone who has done 30 or 40 songs with Kanye, talk about the creative process and the brainstorming and everything that happens.
So I think writing with Kanye is pretty cool, because if it take us a year to do an album, I'll say 8 of those months I'll be just brainstorming. Just be in the studio, just talking to each other. Well, what do you think about this concept? What do you think about that? What if I call myself a god? Would they be mad? Like, it's all that. We go back and forth. We bring in different religions, different, thinkers from different places, and that's the main part of the album, just the brainstorming of it. Then once we say, okay, this is the topics we want to deal with, these are the issues we want to speak on, we kind of all go in our cubby holes, and like Mike Dean's over here, and Noah's and Killhoffers and Plain Pats and Cuddy will come through, and then that's when everybody comes through and he gets to telling them, where he want to go with the album, what feel you want to have, and then people go in their rooms and come up with melodies on different beats that he selected, and that's how it all start coming together.
Well, let's talk about the whole thing of hip hop, and sometimes you call it ghostwriting, sometimes you call it co-writing. I guess ghostwriting means that when you don't get credit, but
right.
In the case of Kanye, every song that comes out, you see a whole bunch of people collaborating on it. So it was a big thing with Drake when they found out that Quentin Miller did some of the raps that Drake ended up performing.
Right.
And it was a big deal, and a lot of people have said that, like Kendrick recently said that you can't be considered one of the GOATs if you have other writers on your project. Now, as someone who's worked with Kanye that a lot of people do consider one of the GOATs, you've had some interesting takes on that.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, ghostwriting, what the first thing I want to say with ghostwriting, I feel like you can't have co-writers after you've bodied rap. And when I mean body rap is if you've already Draked it or you've Kanye'd it or you've Kendrick your first few albums that went, platinum or whatever, and you want all the BET, VMA awards you want. When you get to the Grammys and you see Adele walk on stage and she has 30 people behind her and they've all helped her work on this album, she's got album of the year. You think you're gonna beat her with just you and your engineer? You think you're gonna beat Sam Smith's team? Think you're gonna beat Christina Aguilera and Beyonce's team when they got 30 people on this project, and you think as a rapper, you think you could compete with 30 minds thinking and it's just you and your engineer? So I think once you get to a certain level, you have to bring in a team to kind of compete with other genres of music because other genres of music are collaborating. But, hip hop is such a young genre of music that it's still like taboo to use, a writer or co-writer. But I don't like to consider myself like a ghostwriter, co-writer. I'm more of I say a proofreader. That's what I am.
Okay.
Like, you should say and instead of if.
Well, I guess the reason why people do that with hip hop is that hip hop is supposed to be that person's experience, and that person's story. So when you hear it's really someone else's story, it causes people to look at rappers differently. Like with singers and pop artists and so forth, people expect
right
other people to write their songs. I remember I hung out with Good Charlotte one day, and we started talking about their songs, and the guy was like, "Yes, someone else writes all our songs. We don't write our own songs." And they were cool with it. They're all rich, living in mansions. Getting $100,000 a show.
Right.
Like they cool with that.
Right.
But with hip hop, like I said, like the Drake thing was a big deal. He still addresses it. How you gonna let a ghostwriter turn you into a ghost and stuff like that?
Well, a lot of, you'd be surprised how many rappers don't have stories.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You know what I mean? Just because, they're good, they have good performers and good voices, but a lot of them may not have all the experiences that they need to be able to make 4, 5, 6 albums that's not predicated on the same thing and the same stories. So sometimes you may need new stories from other people. So, like I said, once you get to the Grammy A-list celebrity artist level, you're competing with jazz, you're competing with gospel, you're competing with pop music, you're competing with Latin music, you're competing with every genre of music. So now those people using ghostwriters and writers, and so that's how I look at it when it comes on that stage. But me, I don't need that. I'm barred up.
What about the song "Elephant in the Room"?
Elephant in the Room? I know that kind of shook up the world. You know what I'm saying? But actually, that beat was given to me by Kanye West. The topic was given to me by Kanye West. And the thing is, he just never got to lay his verses on it because we was about to start an album with, he was going to be like this Kanye, like this Dr. Dre, Eminem kind of album where he was going to produce the whole thing and all right. He be this, super producer, and I'm like this dope rapper that, lyricist that, I think hands down is one of the best in the world. So that was just one of the records from that project that we were starting on. But I just wanted to put it out because it was so fitting at the time where, my label Def Jam didn't want to really, work with me on any of my projects or help me. So it was just showing my fans, the honesty of it, because I was just tired of answering the question on the internet and online. And every time I walked out the house, when the album coming out? When the album? I just got tired of it. So I just wrote a song that kind of spoke on it, but in a creative way, and it just went viral.
Well, in one of the verses, in the first verse, you're kind of talking to Kanye.
Uh-huh.
You say, "Hey, Ye, do you really know what it feels like to be signed to you in real life? Have you ever wrote a song, and you're about to say something wrong, but you're still right?
Mm-hmm.
Sit the fuck down, Mr. West. I ain't done yet."
Yeah. It was just like running into the building like...
it sounded like a diss record.
Oh,
some people took it as that.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be because it's like, you gonna take advice from somebody who slapped D Barnes? You know what I'm saying? And that's how it was. It was just, you didn't get to hear the project. So if you'd have heard the whole project, you'd have been like, oh, okay, Elephant in the Room is like one of many. you know what I mean, combative songs. You know what I mean? But it's just, you know, me and him as friends, man. We're more than friends. We're like brothers. And you know, I just had to voice a frustration of a young artist, but not in a malicious way.
Okay.
More so of a MC charismatic way. You know what I mean? And I think I accomplished it.
So did the two of you have a conversation about this after it came out?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what did he say?
He didn't know I was putting it out. That's the only thing. He's like, man, I wish you would have told me to put it out. I would have, you know, gave you a verse or something like that. But because all his friends was calling him and making sure, like, you and Cyhi cool? Like, this is the issue? And he's like, nah, this ain't no issue. I told him to do it. But I never told, if I would have told everybody I'm about to put it out, they would have been prepared for it.
Right.
But I didn't tell nobody. I just was like, forget it, I'm going to put out a dope record.
Okay. And you continue to work with him after that?
Yeah.